For years, flexing meant designer brands, luxury cars, and expensive vacations. But now, the new flex is saying, I can't afford that right now. Welcome to the world of loud budgeting, where being open about saving money isn't embarrassing, it's powerful. In this video, I'll break down why frugality is trending, how it builds real wealth, and why it's actually the smartest financial flex you can make. What's up, guys? It's me, and today we got another interesting topic that has been all over TikTok recently. So here's the thing. Back in the day, if you wanted to show people that you were rich, you would drive an expensive car, wear flashy jewelry, live in a big house. But now times have changed. The new flex isn't what you have or what you can buy. It's actually when you can confidently say it's not in my budget. Here's why. Although before it used to be shameful to talk about money, nowadays it's become extremely normalized. In fact, a recent survey found that 64% of millennials and 80% of Gen Z feel comfortable talking about money. But with that said, personal finance is blown up on social media. There are countless creators sharing their best tips, tricks, and habits on how to make, keep, and multiply money. And what they've realized is that the people who embrace this, who actually share it, tend to be more popular than those who don't. So in terms of being frugal, saving money and investing, here's why being able to say it's not in my budget is the new flex. Why it's so powerful, and how you could start doing it yourself. Although before we start, I just want to say thank you guys so much for giving these videos a like. It really helps out. So thank you so much. And now let's begin. Alright, so in terms of why saying it's not in my budget has become the new flex, there's 4 main reasons why. First, honesty is always better than trying to show off. See, when you make a lot of money, you're usually living a very comfortable lifestyle. But when someone else does, many people try to copy them by getting a bigger house, fancier car, or more luxurious items. And in some cases, they might even do this on credit. However, by doing this, it just becomes a constant game of one-upmanship where everyone tries to impress each other at all costs. But now that people understand this, they realize that being honest is a lot more valuable. For example, instead of worrying about what everyone else thinks, keeping your own financial life to yourself is seen as a bit strange because why would you be ashamed? It doesn't make sense to hide something that should be common knowledge. After all, you're the one paying for it, so why should you be embarrassed? That's why instead of trying to impress other people, it's better to just be upfront about what you can and can't afford. Second, it shows that you're in control. Imagine going out to dinner with some friends and you see a bottle of wine on the table worth $200. Would you order it? Maybe if you had a really good job, maybe if you could justify it, or maybe if you didn't care about money. Most likely if you're financially responsible, then you'll probably decline it because you know that it's not worth it. You understand that it's overpriced and that you're better off just having that money in your pocket. But this also applies to rent, utilities, subscriptions, investments, and anything else that requires money. Think of it this way. If you're able to say no to something that's not within your budget, then you're clearly in control of your finances. And this leads people to believe that you're a pretty confident person. After all, it takes a lot of mental strength to look around, spot something you don't need, and walk away from it. And the more you practice this, the more it becomes a habit, the more people notice, and eventually the more it becomes a part of your identity. Third, it's the reverse flex. When you're rich, your mindset tends to shift towards the long term. Instead of caring about what you have, you care about what you don't have. And instead of buying things to impress people, you'd rather save money to invest, build, and grow. That way you have something that you can rely on down the road. For instance, Warren Buffett is famous for pinching pennies, eating the same breakfast for decades, and refusing to pay for things that aren't worth it. Of course, he's made billions of dollars as a result, but most people don't get this benefit until much later in life. However, the point is that when you start practicing a rich mindset early on, not only will you have more money later, but you'll start thinking differently about what's important. That leads us into our final point. Fourth, it benefits you in more ways than you'd expect. By openly discussing your financial situation and sticking to a budget, you surround yourself with the right kind of support. As author T. Harv Eker says, we become what we think about. So if you surround yourself with people who spend frivolously, then chances are you'll do the same. But if you surround yourself with people who are frugal and financially disciplined, then chances are you'll do the same. On top of that, when you share your budget with others, it holds you accountable and gives you a built-in support system to help you along the way. Plus, If your goal is to save money, then having other people around who are doing the same makes it that much easier. However, in terms of exactly how you could start doing this yourself, here's what I recommend. First, set your goals. If you want to save more money, then figuring out exactly how much you want to save and by when is extremely important. For example, do you want to save $100 a month? Do you want to save $1,000 by the end of the year? Or maybe do you want to save enough money to buy a Tesla Model 3? Whatever it is, write it down, visualize it, and use it as motivation every single day. Second, tell your friends and family. So once you've figured out exactly how much you want to save, it's a good idea to tell your friends and family. That way, if they suggest doing something that you can't afford, you'll have an easy excuse ready to go. For example, you could say something like, "I appreciate the invite, but I'm trying to save up for a new laptop, so I'll catch you guys next time." Most people won't really mind, especially if you explain why. If they do, then it's not really worth it anyway. Third, use humor. There's no reason to be ashamed of wanting to save money. To use humor to make it seem like less of a big deal. For example, when you go to a restaurant, you could say something like, "I'm on a date with my wallet tonight." When someone invites you somewhere expensive, you could say something like, "I'm saving up for a private jet." So thanks for understanding. Just remember, the more you say it, the more it becomes normal, the more it becomes expected, and the more people will respect you for it. And fourth, share your progress. Now, this is probably the most important step, because the entire point of this is not to shame yourself for being broke, but to inspire others to be smarter with their money. So whether it's in a YouTube video, a blog post, or even just Instagram stories, you could talk about your wins, your losses, your mistakes, and everything else that comes in between. That way, first of all, you hold yourself accountable. Second, people learn from your mistakes. And third, you attract like-minded individuals who want to join you along the way. Now, in terms of how you should be thinking about this, I don't think anyone should be ashamed of wanting to save money. Wanting to save money means that you value the future, you understand the power of compounding, and you have the desire to improve your life. And although it's not always easy, sometimes it's not fun, and sometimes you'll want to quit, you have to remember that this is a marathon, not a sprint. It's something that you have to practice consistently over the next several years. If you want to see meaningful results, that's why I think of loud budgeting as a form of reverse flexing. It's not cheap, and it's definitely not cringe. It's quite the opposite. It's intentional, it's thoughtful, and it's something that truly sets you apart. Not everyone wants to admit that they're trying to save money. Not everyone is willing to say no to something that they want. And not everyone is willing to prioritize their future self over their present. The truth is, if you're able to be vocal about your financial goals, that itself is a flex. After all, most people would rather hide it than admit that they're broke. So I guess in a way, the real flex isn't what you have, the car you drive, the size of your paycheck, or even your net worth. It's the freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want, without relying on anyone else. It's the ability to say yes to a new opportunity without taking on debt or lowering your standards. It's the confidence that comes from knowing that you're in control of your finances. And it's the peace of mind that comes from knowing that you're building something for the future. So with that said, you guys, would you be comfortable saying out loud, "It's not in my budget"? Just comment that below. Also, feel free to add me on social media. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.